The discussion and debunking of conspiracy theories has been a very, very popular pastime here on the internet for as long as I can imagine, okay? There's been the JFK thing, there's been the Paul McCartney thing, there's been the Avril Lavigne thing, there's been the alien thing, and there's been the lizard people thing, okay? And today we are going to be talking about the lizard person thing, but not in any great detail, okay? We're talking about a public freakout video that has everybody talking about lizard people, about people that are not real, that are being put on your airplanes for some reason, okay? Hey, how's it going? I'm your friendly neighborhood gatekeeper, Dan Frampton, and there was a time when we would see like a freakout video like this on the internet, and it would just be another freakout video of the day, okay? There'd be no big news. You'd be like, okay, this person is either crazy or they're on drugs or maybe they're drunk. And nothing hits quite like an airplane freakout because, you know, they're enclosed and in the air. There's a lot of variables going on out there that make it particularly unique. And on top of that, there's normally alcohol involved. But if you've been on the internet over the past like 5 days or so, you might have seen this video here. This lady is freaking out because the person beside her is not a real person and she's just losing her mind and she wants to get off this airplane as fast as possible. She makes a couple hand gestures in the video, the ones of Baphomet, I believe, that conspiracy theorists are like running with right now. So let's take a look at the video, then the hand gesture, and go into this a little bit. And I actually found a clip of a witness to this whole thing that was on the same plane. So let's get into all of this and let's see what people are talking about. Is this really a lizard person?
Or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to.
You can see that she seems like totally distraught. Her voice is shaking. She's like, that motherfucker is not real back there, okay? And these are the hand gestures that people are pointing to. The 2 fingers up and the 2 fingers down. They're like, yo, that's Baphomet. Yo, dog, that is some serious Illuminati stuff. That is some serious deep cult stuff, okay? This is evil, evil, evil stuff at work right now. You know what? She sees a lizard person, she's scared by the lizard person, and for some reason is doing the lizard person hand signal. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, okay? Of course I don't know for sure if she's signaling anything, okay? But using deductive reasoning and logic and just watching this video, she's too freaked out, okay, to be signaling anything, okay? She's like trying to run away as far as possible from this thing. She's leaving all of her luggage behind. She doesn't give a shit about any of that. She's like, get me away from that motherfucker. That motherfucker is not real. She believes whoever was beside her, for whatever reason that she believes it, she believes that that person was not real. And of course the memes are coming out, like this one here. That motherfucker back there is not real. And it's Scooby-Doo. She caught on to the Scooby-Doo costume. Funny little meme, playing around, having a good time. We even got some merch out here. People are really running wild with this thing. It's capturing the imagination of a nation. But right here, this is the guy that says he has an eyewitness account, okay? Now you just gotta like take his word, I guess, that he was there, but he doesn't actually provide any of his own footage to prove that he was there. So you know what I mean? You gotta take all of this with a grain of salt. There's absolutely no facts here whatsoever. We have this video of the lady freaking out, telling us that the motherfucker's not real, and then this guy saying that he saw that whole thing go down. So let's watch the entire clip, okay? I'm just gonna let the whole thing play, and then we're gonna come back and dissect it a little bit.
I was on that flight. It was American Airlines. We were leaving Dallas-Fort Worth. I was sitting in the left aisle, about 3 rows back from this woman. She was sitting in the right aisle, and she had this very interesting exchange with some dude in a hoodie. I don't remember the color of the hoodie. I really, you know how memory is. When you're not super paying attention, you don't remember all the details. I had one headphone in, couldn't hear all the specifics of what happened, but I noticed this exchange between this woman and this dude in a hoodie. And it was kind of weird at the time because it seemed like no one else before she really started getting frantic, like was paying attention to this, but that makes sense. It was like a normal flight. This was after putting all the luggage away. We'd been on the plane for a little bit. It was before the flight attendant came over and gave the little spiel. And what I remember is she was having like a full-blown conversation with this dude in the hoodie. I'll call him the hoodie guy. She was having a full-blown conversation with hoodie guy. The weird thing was that he never once said a fucking word to her the whole time. And at the time, I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about it. But it's like she would say something and he like would respond, but there was no exchange happening. It was just her getting more and more frantic, which, okay, if she's drunk and she's going crazy, then you would think the dude in the hoodie would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But he was just like dead locked on her, like deep eye contact with her. Like I don't want to feed into the conspiracies here, but like almost like she was like in a hypnosis type of thing. And she started getting more and more frantic to the point where then people started kind of noticing. Flight attendant came over, tried to calm her down, like, what's going on? She sat back down, but she kept looking over at this dude in the hoodie, and finally she was like done with it. And that's like when I really started paying attention, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when she was like, I can't do this. She started getting up. She started walking up to the front. And then the whole video thing happened. I didn't take a video of it. I was listening to a Stephen King audiobook. I wasn't like pulling out my phone to record this. And she didn't seem drunk to me, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I didn't see her drink. I mean, she seemed totally normal to me up until that point. The weird thing was after she left the plane, the dude in the hoodie, which the flight attendant was like, did anything happen? And he still didn't say a word. He just went like, and like shrugged. The dude in the hoodie like looked around the plane and he looked back at me and he winked at me. And again, I didn't quite register it. I was like, okay, what the fuck was that about? I was like, maybe he's just being like an ass, like winking, like that was weird, wasn't it? But now that I look back, I realized that when he winked at me and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this. And I didn't even register.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot to break down. That's a lot to go through. But we're gonna do our best, okay? So first off, I'm just gonna say that I believe that he was on the plane. You kind of got to if you're gonna like have a conversation about this right now. So first off, we're gonna approach this like, yes, he was on that plane. Yes, I believe he was listening to his Stephen King novel and not recording it. We're just gonna take that at face value for right now, okay? So all we got initially was the clip of the lady running away, the hand signals, and that motherfucker is not real, right? But what this guy is saying is that she was sitting beside this guy in the hoodie and just going on and on and on about something. I don't know what, but the guy in the hoodie was not responding. Very, very weird. So that brings me to a next point that he made that I do agree with. If someone was drunk and doing that, you know what I mean, you would respond. You would kind of like be like, that's weird, calm down, lady, this is very strange. And that brings us to another point. He said that the lady didn't seem very drunk, she just seemed very scared. And judging by the video, it seemed like that. She was shaking, her voice was trembling. The fact that hoodie dude was just like dead eye contact while this was all happening is very, very strange. But it doesn't necessarily prove that this person was a lizard person, and it definitely doesn't validate all the conspiracy theories, you know what I mean? This guy could have any sort of like social condition, you know what I mean? He could be sick, he could be deaf, it could be any number of things. But she was disturbed for some reason. Whatever that reason is, we don't know. Another thing we don't know and don't have is like photographic evidence of the hoodie guy. Now, multiple people have been saying that there was like a hoodie guy. Some people came on and said it was a green hoodie. So people are out there being like, this is green hoodie guy being a lizard. This guy couldn't really remember the color of the hoodie, but out there in the lore, he's green hoodie guy, I guess. But I couldn't find any photographic evidence of that either. So apparently she kept on getting like more and more frantic, and that's when people started to notice. She sat back down, looked back over at the guy, and then that's when she totally lost it. She's like, no, this guy isn't even real. So by this guy's account, she didn't just like jump to that conclusion. You know what I mean? It kind of escalated. She sat back down. She was trying to collect herself, and then she looked back over at the guy, and he was still being I don't know, a lizard? I have no idea. Okay, so they weren't in the air, which makes this airplane freakout a little bit different than other airplane freakouts. She was allowed to leave the plane, but apparently the flight attendant went over to hoodie guy and he just like shrugged it all off and stuff. So it's all very strange, and I think it's very weird. The way that this guy ends the story about how the lizard person winked at him, but he didn't really register it being a weird wink. It isn't until later when he thought about it that he was like, no, that was totally a lizard wink. And I think by the time he came out with this story, the conspiracy things were already going, because he already like addressed it earlier on in the video. He's like, I don't want to feed into the conspiracy stuff, but then he ends it like that. So I think that maybe his mind is playing tricks on him. You know, maybe he's not lying intentionally. Maybe he's like, oh yeah, yo, that was a lizard person. I totally did the side to side thing. Or more likely he's out here trying to catch some clout from it. But what I think would be great is if he was like an improv student in Chicago and this was just a bit. And I would love nothing more than absolute evidence of this stuff. That would be great. That would be fantastic, okay? And people are like, it's happening all over the world. Here's another guy that's freaking out on an airplane about another guy that's very, very strange looking. It's like he's trying to run away, but these guys were in the air, so they had to tackle this guy. But apparently, this guy came from a festival and was really like fucked up on something. I don't know, it was very high. So people are giving this incident a little bit less credibility than the other one, but the conspiracy theorists are being like, it's happening all over the world. This is like the orcas. But if you were on that plane and you have another eyewitness account, I want to hear it. If you are that alien guy, if you are the guy in the green hoodie, come forth. Tell us about your thing. Do the whole we're a lizard person race and we've been walking among you for hundreds of years thing, okay? Just pull the band-aid off. Get it over with. And if anybody tries to show you footage of like politicians with eyes like this or whatever, all these things have been doctored, okay? These images have been around for years on YouTube. They're not really so much around anymore because it's totally classified as misinformation, but I miss those videos. They're so wacky, and they do exist on TikTok right now, being like, hey, if you ever seen alien eyes, this is what they look like in people. You're like, oh, you guys are insane. But this little uproar on the internet does get the imagination going, and I would love nothing more than actual proof of any of this to be real. Just like any of these theories, you know what I mean? I would love to be able to say, yes, this thing that has been a theory for so long is no longer a theory. Now it's just a thing. Now, I think that this lady reacted exactly the way anyone with a rational thinking brain would react if they encountered a lizard person on their plane, okay? This is no exaggeration. The shaking in the voice, the fear, the confusion, the I just need out of here, all of that would be how anyone would respond to a lizard person. So the way that I like to imagine it is she looked back, this lizard person did the side eye wink and then did a little tongue thing with the split like lizard tongue, and then she was like, no, I'm out. No, you're a lizard person. I'm out of here. Get out of here, buddy. But again, that's just my imagination. That's just me making stuff up on the internet. I don't think any of this stuff is really to be believed right now, but if an actual piece of evidence comes out, I will be the first to turn on this camera and celebrate. But it might actually be bad news, so I'm not sure. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. This has been riveting, people, for the last couple days, and I just had to talk about it a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a couple pancakes down there in the comments section. Ring the bell if you're cool as hell. And until my next upload, you can watch another upload.